Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist at Tap the Potential. And I'm joined here today with Christeen Era and Dave Rinn from Core Growth Strategies. Today's topic is focused mindset on strategic planning and constructive, deliberate action. We are about 1 month into all of this, maybe about 5 weeks now. And one of the things that I think is very important for us all to stay mindful of is we're going to make it through this, and we're going to come out better on the other end if we remember two things. We have to take care of ourselves as entrepreneurs, and we have to think strategically. So that's the whole purpose of every Monday why we're coming here live on Facebook Live to talk about these things. And just as we start our discussion today, I want to remind entrepreneurs of a few things. We are juggling lots of things in our businesses, lots of complexity, even when we don't have a crisis situation on our hands. And the fact that we are about 4 or 5 weeks into this, many of us are feeling a little worn down by everything, a little tired, a little burnt out. And it is very important that we take care of ourselves and we do the important things like getting plenty of sleep. 8 hours is recommended every night. I know that's a little challenging for a lot of us, but we should work on that. Getting plenty of exercise every day, and of course, our social distancing that we are all practicing. Just as we were coming on the call, we were having a discussion about how different Easter has been and much quieter. It was also much quieter in my house with just and doing different traditions than what we would normally be doing during this time. So Christeen and Dave, I want to introduce them. Christeen and Dave are with Core Growth Strategies. We work closely with Core Growth Strategies here at Tap the Potential. We've had an alliance now for several years in supporting business owners with growing, highly profitable, great places to work, supporting leaders in being the leaders that they need to be to have a great place to work, and attracting A players on their team, and always being mindful of, I think one of our core common values, Christeen and Dave, is that we are focused on building profit and sustainable businesses and setting businesses up for entrepreneurs and their teams so that the business takes care of them. So work supports life, not the other way around. And hey, Andrew, I see you here with us. Andrew Twardzik is here. So it's great to have you, Andrew. I want to share with you Christeen and Dave's bio. Christeen Era is the president, CEO, and an inspirational team leader at Core Growth Strategies. She has more than 20 years of experience in accounting and business consulting, and she's passionate about helping small businesses flourish. Her industry expertise has been in lawn care and landscape, construction, restoration, and contracting services and professional service industries. Christeen's type A nature and strategic strengths drives her and her team to find, test, and implement tools and technology that help clients achieve profitability and stability. Christeen is a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor, certified accounting professional, certified Mastery Profit First professional, certified pumpkin plan strategist, and a certified Fix This Next advisor. Dave Rinn is vice president and COO at Core Growth Strategies and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the team from over 30 years in the accounting, tax, and business management fields. He's previously owned his own accounting firm and served as CFO to businesses large and small. He also is a certified Master Profit First professional, a certified Fix This Next advisor, and enjoys teaching and coaching business owners. Dave places great value on education and communication and strives to consistently provide top quality service. Dave lives in Fall City, Washington, loves the Pittsburgh Steelers and Washington Capitals, and is an above average cook. So Dave, with you being an above average cook, I'm really curious, what did you cook for Easter?
You know what I made for Easter? A phone call.
A phone call. You had something to
we supported a local business who is struggling. So they put out a special for Easter brunch. So we ordered Easter brunch and had a really nice meal provided by a local entrepreneur.
Awesome. Okay, so with everyone joining us here, I see Natalie is here. She says, "Yay, Christeen and Dave," and Stacy is here. And Stacy says, "Hi, Andrew," and Steve Busquet is here as well. Hey, Steve, good to see you. So as we're getting started, I would love to hear from everyone who's joining us. What new tradition did you start in your family over the Easter weekend here? So if you want to post that in our chat, we can watch that as we get started here. Christine and Dave, one of the questions that I think is really interesting for us to consider right now is we're about 4 or 5 weeks into this. What should we as business owners be focusing on? Christine, do you want to start?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question. First, and this is something that I think we are all struggling with, getting into this, is you want to make sure that that you're getting enough time and rest for yourself. And this is something that I know I've shared with my associates. I've been struggling with this. There's been a lot of demand, with the accounting and, consulting and even coaching industry, with the small business community reaching out, for support. And of course, we want to step up and take care of our people and make sure that they're doing well, they're surviving, they're getting the support that they need. And, so we've been extremely busy and we've been digging in. So as, Tap the Potential, it's their motto to, eat your veggies first. And so I have been trying to be very mindful, and Dave and I have been reminding ourselves of this to, get that rest for yourself and, make sure that you're taking your time and making that space for you, because it's going to make all the difference of how you're able to support your team and lead your team. So that's very important, of course, to start there. I would say some of the other things, for your business, spend some time on evaluating the actions needed to move your business forward. So that's important. Appropriate marketing, increasing your margins. So maximizing cash flow, controlling cash outflow. This way you can quickly identify the deliberate actions that you're going to need to take.
Yeah, evaluating cash flow is a critical one. And I know as this started, we, in our Breakthroughs on the Bayou Retreat alumni group, you guys joined us and we did a call and talked about evaluating cash flow needs and looking about how far we could get in each of our individual businesses. Based on the current situation. I think that is something to do on an ongoing basis. So with us being 4 or 5 weeks in, I think it's important for all of us business owners to be reevaluating that and looking forward to the next month or two to see what that looks like. Dave, what do you want to offer here?
Christine touched on most of it. The focus on your health, create a healthy outlet. If you're going stir crazy, if your business is essential, then you're still going strong, but you still have to evaluate how you're going to come out of the other side of this in better shape. If your business is shut down currently, take the time to figure out what you're going to do, but also to keep yourself mentally busy. And to, my family yesterday for Easter, we had a Zoom call, which was a lot of fun with my 83-year-old dad. He's like, how does this work? It's like a caricature. But do things like that are outside of your norm, that yet staying within the social distancing, so that you've got some mental energy and you've got some focus on your mental health, especially. Like if the weather's bad for 4 days, it's going to weigh on you even more. So think of something you can do to keep your spirits up.
Mm-hmm. Humor is a real good thing to be doing and using right now to keep all of our spirits up. And I love just connecting with people and family. Using Zoom is a great way to do that. My daughter celebrated her 6th birthday on Saturday, and we could not have a party, but we asked her important people to send in a video, and my oldest daughter compiled a little video for her, and there was definitely some humor in there, and it brightened spirits. So that's good. Dave, the other thing that you touched on that I think is important is for us to keep an eye to the future. And so I want to just remind folks of this graphic that we've been sharing, which is the focus on the vision. And so our vision, if we think about where we want to be 2 years from now, and not so much focused on what we want to have, but what we want to be experiencing and what we want to have going on in our business at the end of December 2021. And looking at that's our vision, that's where we're headed, that's the future. And over here on the other side is the present moment. And we're faced with choices that we can make today. And some of those choices look like they could move us in the direction of that vision, but they may be a little off track. And if we think about it, a lot of us are looking in our businesses and feeling like we're in survival mode. And so we're making choices just to survive through the next month or two. We want to be very careful about those choices because those over time could pull us very far away from our vision when we track them further out. So we want to look at the choices that we're making today. We want to put them through the filter of, are they in alignment with our immutable laws? Are they in alignment with serving our top clients and customers? Are they in alignment with our strengths as a team? Or are we trying to go outside of our area of strengths just to serve top clients and customers to get some revenue coming in, which when we track that out over time could pull us very far away from our vision. It could help us survive through the next couple of months, but it could also mean that we start creating a business that is not going to be sustainable for the long term for us as entrepreneurs or for our team members. So those are some questions to consider as we are evaluating our options. Steve is jumping in here and asking a really good question. And he says, what about leadership at work? How has that changed for you during this challenge? So Christine and Dave, do you want to offer anything on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Because there are some companies that are making a pivot from, where they're working at their brick and mortar location and now they're having to move to virtual. And we're a virtually based company. So when all this hit, it wasn't difficult for us. There wasn't a change for us, for the most part, but there are companies out there to where there is a huge shift going on. So just interacting in a virtual environment to getting on like a video call, that could be very uncomfortable for some people and kind of create like a nervous energy already that, in an environment where we're already kind of experiencing some anxiety. So for us, our employees and our team members who are working from home, they're used to interacting in a virtual environment where we're meeting on Zoom on a regular basis like this. But one of the things that they're not used to managing, and we had to recognize this and acknowledge this for our team, was now their husbands are home, their children are home. And this is creating a different environment for them to manage and work in. And we had to kind of step back and have this conversation, Dave and I, and then with our team as well, and acknowledge this for our team members and say, hey guys, we realize your husbands are there, your children are there, they might walk in on the Zoom meeting when we're having conversations, your children might be doing somersaults or jumping on the couch or the chair cushion, behind you while we're trying to have a conversation. Typically that would stress one of your team members out. They could be in their mind having like a meltdown, like, oh my gosh, what is my boss thinking? This is so stressful. And we had to kind of ease that stress with them and really invite the family unit into our business and let them know like, hey, this is okay. This is what's happening in the time right now. And we understand. And it's just part of what's going on. And we wanted to really remove that stressor that they were experiencing and acknowledge it. And that was something that was just a shift in our environment. And I think it really, changed how they were feeling and just acknowledging that and inviting it into, our culture, in the moment.
I think that's a really good point. And just adding to that, when you're doing one-on-ones with team members, and at Tap Potential, we encourage you to do a weekly one-on-one with team members. I think that's a great time to be checking in with them on what it's stressing you right now, because everyone's stress is different. We have a virtual team at Tap the Potential too. We are used to running Zoom calls. That's no big deal. I've done Zoom calls with my kids at home during the summer. So there's some foundation laid for that. Doing it every day for hours on end is a little new and different for them. So that's been an adaptation. But everybody is experiencing a different level of stress based on their family situation at this time. Some spouses are unemployed now and home. Some families are in cold parts of the country and you're cooped up in a house together for days on end. So just finding out what it is for your individual team members and normalizing their experience and reassuring them you're not judging them for how they're managing. And that one-to-one is also an opportunity to help them problem solve, to, if you're struggling to be effective in your work from home, let's look at how can I support you, and what ideas can be generated to make it work better for you. I know I was on a call last week with business owners who are struggling. They've never worked virtually, and so they're wondering, how do I even track the productivity of my team? I'm used to seeing them in the office. I'm used to seeing them right next to me, so I know they're working. And now I don't see them. I have no idea what's going on. And so I think many of our clients at Tap the Potential are familiar with, when you're hiring someone, thinking about the most important result that you're looking for from them and how to measure that. And so if this is new for you and you have a virtual team and you're trying to think through productivity, think about, what is the most important result I need from this person in a given day or a given week, and work with them to put some measurements in place so that you both know that work is happening and that the most critical work is happening. Dave, do you have any thoughts on the leadership side?
I do have a thought just to tack on to what you said. You also have to trust in your original instincts that you hired the right people. And so just because you're not there in the room with them, you've hired adults, and responsible adults, hopefully, that you trusted in some way, shape, or form. So trust that they're doing the work, that they are performing to the best of their abilities. Because just because they're virtual and not in your office doesn't mean they've stopped caring about the business and the job. So that's important. And we've had a lot of guest appearances on our Zoom calls, and just reassuring them that it's okay that your kid keeps popping up over your shoulder. It's a welcome diversion in some ways, but letting them know that it's not the end of the world, that this is a special circumstance and it's okay.
Yeah. The other thing is to have a daily huddle over Zoom, a point where you're checking in with team members and connecting every single day, even 5 or 10 minutes, and seeing what's important for the team to be accomplishing that day and what each person is contributing. That will help people to stay on the same page, but it also keeps morale up right now, and that's very important. We all need to keep our morale up. Steve, thank you for asking such a good question. I would love for those of you who are watching to post some comments in the chat about what you're noticing about leadership at work, what's challenging you, and maybe we can talk about some of those on next week's Facebook Live and go into more depth around the different leadership challenges that are out there right now and some strategies to support you guys on that. The next question I want us to get into talking about is, what's the biggest mistake we're seeing small businesses make during these times? And Dave, I'm going to let you go first on this one. What are you seeing?
I was thinking about this question earlier, and what it boils down to is panic. The biggest mistake I see people making is panic and knee-jerk reactions. Oh my God, the world is ending. We need to do something fast and now, and never mind the future. We need to just do something now. What I'm seeing, everyone is looking towards the SBA loans, the payroll protection plan, or the EIDL, and viewing it as the answer, that this is going to save us. In my opinion, that's short-sighted, and it shows a lack of preparedness and preparation. And also, it's putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. You're not really helping yourself, because what you're doing is you're taking on debt. I've seen other professionals advocate maxing out your credit cards, maxing out your line of credit, taking all the cash you can get and hoarding it. these are big mistakes, and they have long-term ramifications. If you've got $100,000 line of credit and you pull it out, you've done two things. One, you've set the stage for a panic that could be contagious. Two, you now owe $100,000, and if you spend that, you've got to pay that back somehow. Same with the SBA loans. What people keep forgetting is, okay, they're saying it's going to be forgiven, but the percentage of forgiveness is very liquid at this point. It changes regularly. And so what if none of it's forgiven? Well, now let's say you borrowed $100,000 there, just to use the same number. Now you've got to return $100,000 to the government in 18 months. So you have to think about what that does to your cash flow, how that's going to affect the business going forward. And did it get you through the 2 months? Maybe. Are there other things we can do to get you through 2-3 months? Absolutely. Using the credit cards to run the business is a bad idea in good times. In bad times, it's a worse idea because that interest rate could be anywhere from 5% to 29%. And so you've really hamstrung your company by doing that. There's lots of other things that people are doing. I've seen companies just lay everybody off, say, go home, we're done. And that creates a ripple effect because now you don't have any employees, they don't have income. It's it's a knee-jerk reaction. It doesn't need to be done. I've seen companies lower their prices. Well, if you're operating on a 15% margin and you drop your price 20% because you're trying to get more business, now you're paying them to work. It doesn't make any sense. Doing any kind of discount like that you normally wouldn't give. I mean, of course, there's special circumstances, but just across the board, lowering your prices, bad idea. Maintain your prices. The other thing I've seen discussed is adjusting the terms of your AR, saying, all right, rather than, upon receipt or 30 days, we'll let you go 60 or 90 days. Well, now that creates, again, a ripple effect, because what if that company or that person doesn't have any income in 90 days, they can't pay you. So you've lost that money. It's, cash is king. Money has time value. Get paid now. So all of these actions are being considered, at least by small businesses, and it's all based on panic, based on fear. So in a nutshell, the biggest mistake people are making is not stepping back and thinking about a best way forward. It's a gut reaction, and it's not a healthy reaction. So
I'm just popping this image back up on the screen because it's so in line with what you're talking about. You're talking about decisions that are short-term decisions, but we're going to be dealing with the fallout from those decisions a year or 2 years from now. And they're not sustainable decisions.
It all falls under the category survival trap.
Yeah. So we need to be avoiding the survival trap. Christine, how about you? What's the biggest mistake you're seeing right now?
Yeah, so I mean, it's in alignment with what Dave is saying, and I would add to it, from the concepts of like the pumpkin plan strategies of going after the clients that are not your ideal clients. So don't stray away from your core values now, just because that fear starts setting in, and you're worried about generating that revenue that you need. There's other solutions. So it really ties back to strategy. So, stay true to the core values, stay true to serving your ideal clients. There's ways that you could be innovative of creating services that serve your ideal clients. They're there right in front of you. They need your services, and there's strategies that you can come up with. There's plans that you could come up with that are effective. So really slowing down and connecting with and understanding with, what is it that I need to do and why, and what is the outcome that it's going to produce, not just within the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, but 6 months from now. You've been building this business for a long time. You don't want to damage it now, out of fear and the impact that it's having. in the economy, it's worth taking the time to come up with a strategic plan.
Yeah. And, I think that ties into the biggest mistake that we see here at Tap the Potential. We work with business owners to be strategic, and we encourage them to be asking the powerful questions that open possibilities. So Stacy Seguin, one of our lead strategists here, is popping into the chat saying another mistake that she sees is the thinking that I can't do anything, and that limits possibilities. And one of the things that happens when we start making decisions out of fear, like Dave was talking about, is we get tunnel vision. Yeah. And so we are limited in seeing the possibilities around us. At Tap the Potential, we like to ask the powerful questions that shine light on other possibilities for people to see. And so one of the things that's concerned me greatly is we've seen business owners who have been part of our program for a year or two pulling out of working with us right now because of their cash flow concerns. And this is the worst time to be stopping. And the concern that I have about it is they want to come back when things are better. Because we haven't been able to support them through it, it is going to be much harder for us to support bringing them back and helping them to thrive on the other end, versus if we can stay in there with them and support them through this, we can make sure they're making those decisions that align with their vision. And so it'll be a much faster recovery and move to thriving when we come out of this. And so that's what concerns me the most. And in that regard, one of the things that I want to just remind everyone watching, if you are a current client of Tap the Potential or a past client of Tap the Potential, we have created a Q storming protocol for a special strategy session to support you through coronavirus. So Q storming is brainstorming powerful questions around serving your top clients from your area of strength so that you can get the cash flow going in your business. Speaking of
speaking of guest appearances.
That's my dog Bella. So those are some of the powerful questions that we utilize in that Q storming protocol to help you start thinking these things through. If you are not a current or past client of Tap the Potential, we are offering one-off strategy sessions. We've never done that in the past. We are offering it now for coronavirus, and you can access one of these strategy sessions with a member of our team at tapthepotential.com/strategy. And that link is going across the bottom of the screen. Let's talk here.
Can I add something real quick?
Yes.
So what I was just thinking about, people wanting to pull out of Tap the Potential of any kind of coaching situation, is put this in an athletic context. If you're an athlete and you're struggling, that's when you need a coach the most. If you're going along and you're at the top of your game, you probably need less coaching at that point. You still need a coach. Tiger Woods has a coach, but it's not as vital as if you're struggling. When you're struggling, that's when you need the help the most.
Yeah. And I will say we have been doing individualized plans with our long-standing clients that are struggling to have the cash flow. And our long-term game is we're going to support you through this and get you out better on the other end. And we know we can do that if you hang in there with us. So thank you for that, Dave. Steve's popping in with another question here. What's the best way to communicate to our team that we have a plan, and how often should we be doing it?
Yeah. I think that's a great question. And it really comes back to, where were you when before this happened? So some companies are very comfortable about communicating their financials to their team. Financials, it's a very sensitive area for many people. And, when you're dealing with your team, the perspective of money, it can be a very interesting area. So depending on how much you are communicating with your team beforehand, I think it should be very relative to how you're communicating it to your team now. So if you were not communicating, the numbers to your team beforehand, don't step in and just unfold the numbers now. It's really not going to be the proper gradient to do that now. So you want it to be relative. So that would be the first thing. So maybe communicating percentages is a really good, concept to work with. That's typically what we suggest with our clients, because this is a question. They go, well, how am I supposed to get my team's buy-in? When we are trying to promote growth, we want them to be accountable. We want them to move the numbers with us. So we usually start with the percentage, area. It's a little bit more confrontable for them. So if you're not communicating your numbers now, let's say with your C-suite you are, but with the rest of your team you are not. So communicate the percentages. So that is a good place to start. And then with the plan, it's great to, once you come up with the plan, to set down with the team as a whole. And, of course, your C-suite first, so everybody's on the same page and they can manage how it's going to be communicated effectively. And everybody is, continuing to roll it out. But then once you get the plan communicated to the rest of the team, continue to touch on it in, your huddles that you're having on a daily basis, or if you have them 2 times a week, depending on your business model, like we have ours 2 times a week. And, let them know, like, this is where we're going. If it's a marketing plan, if it is your business strategy with, the services you're providing, as far as if there's changes that are happening in the company, and that transparency is extremely important.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on that, I would encourage business owners to be over communicating right now. And so historically, as business owners, we are notorious for under communicating. We have lots of thoughts that run through our head, and sometimes they don't come out of our mouth. A lot of times they don't come out of our mouth. And one of the things that I've had the unique opportunity to experience is talking to the A players on our clients' teams. So the top employees in our clients' businesses. And every time we bring on a new client, we survey their A players about what they see going on in the business. And the number one problem that they point to is a lack of communication going on, and that creates a level of chaos. So during a crisis situation, we need to be stepping up our communication. So those daily huddles, weekly team meetings, individual one-to-ones. And really, when we think we've communicated something once, we need to say it multiple times. So, if there's something important, an important message you want to get across, say it 7 times. Not just one time, because when people are stressed, and our entire teams are stressed right now, they don't hear things. And so just because you think you've said it does not mean that it has been heard. And at Tap the Potential, we have decided we are going to be the over communicators. We will be saying things multiple times to our clients, to our team members, just to make sure that the points are getting across. And, if you're not comfortable communicating with your team about numbers and the financials, you don't even need to go there right now. A simple statement of reassurance that we are going to get through this as a team together. This is a challenging time, and we are going to support each other. This is a safe and supported environment. Those are Steve Busquet's words. They're particularly meaningful during this time right now, and reminding our teams this is a safe, supported place. Dave, what would you offer around that?
I know that we have someone on the call who expressed to their client that, hey, we are safe, we are solid, we've built a foundation, we're not going anywhere. And that reassured the client, and they were able to move forward without any issues. So that kind of communication is essential. And with your employees, with your staff, with any vendors you're working with, and with your clients, constantly reiterate that you've built a solid company, you're not going anywhere, that you're built for the long haul, and this little dip is not going to destroy you. And I'm as guilty as anyone as under communicating. We were just having a conversation about that this morning. And it's an issue. You have to put everything aside and over communicate. And whether, and you can't think, oh, I'm bothering someone, or this is sounding repetitive. Put it out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, Dave, you talked about someone that we have on our call who reassured a client. So I think that's a really important perspective for us to bring out here and highlight. The clients in our businesses know that small businesses are threatened during coronavirus.
Yeah.
So those who are utilizing us for services have a fear that we won't be around, that we are not going to follow through and provide the service that they're expecting from us. So reaching out to our clients saying, we're not going anywhere. We are here. We are a solid company. We have plans in place. We've been working with business coaches, and that's what this individual said, is we've been working with business coaches and developing a cushion and a plan for us to be able to get through something like this. And we've been doing it for 2 years. Yeah. So being able to say with confidence to your clients, we're going to be here, is critical, and that will also help bring in more business because the referrals will get going. One of the things that I think we as business owners can be looking towards, and this ties into one of our last questions, is what are the opportunities that are going to come out of this? One of the things that we can all be looking to is that there are going to be businesses, our competitors, that won't be around. They won't survive through coronavirus and the fallout in the business. So those of us who have businesses that are focused on a sweet spot, we have done things to be strong and sustained, we're going to have the opportunity to grow because there's going to be greater needs out there. And I think one of the things we were going to have to be careful about is not going after business that is from people who would be not our ideal clients. Just because the work is there doesn't mean we should go after it. We need to be running everything through that filter of, does this work fall into our sweet spot? Is it ideal? Is it with ideal clients? Is it going to be good for us and sustainable for the long term? Christine, what opportunities do you see?
There's a number of opportunities. And it's interesting because there was, I'm not huge on Facebook. I try to, social distance myself from that because there could be so much, negativity on there. So when I do go on, I try to connect with the positive. And there was, a great question from, our friend John Jantz this week, in which I thought was fantastic, and it was something along the line of what out of this is a gift, like a greatest gift from this. And I think that there's a lot to be said about that and to connect with. And there's the opportunity of really slowing down. And, and it could be looked at from the concept of, slowing down to speed up. And this has really allowed, the small business owner to kind of take a step back. And I feel, what is important? What do we need to focus on? And, for Dave and I, we had to, kind of step back and go, where can we provide the best support right now for the people that we serve? And we had these plans in place of some things that we were going to roll out in the future. And it sped it up, by months and months, and
exponentially.
Yeah. And it was because it best served what we needed to provide, and support now for the industry and the people that we serve. And so it put us so much ahead of the game than where we would have been, if this didn't happen. And so I look at that as a gift. And it could be to where I look at it and go, oh my goodness, this was really overwhelming. We had to pull all, the stops out and really, get this unfolded and out there. But at the same time, it's something that it's happening now, and it's going to really support so many people and, help them in their small business and, get them to a point of survival and get through this with the right guidance and the right support. So, that is an opportunity in itself. Mm-hmm. And, so that's being innovative, that's being strategic. And so it's taking the opportunity to think differently, to step back and look at the situation instead of through a place of fear, mm-hmm. of look at it through positivity and the growth mindset.
Absolutely. Very good points. Dave, how about you? What opportunities do you see?
It's the opportunity to reevaluate, and we have discussed this a little bit. And it's reevaluating the company. Is it the right size? Do I have the right people in place? Am I providing the right service? If I am, are they the most profitable services? What's my marketing message saying to people? Is it the right message? Am I connecting with the ideal clients? And you want to look at your client base, and we've said before is don't take on the bad clients just because you need the cash. A D client before is still a D client, and so that would cause more harm than good. But as John Jantz did put it very well with what is the greatest gift, and there's an article floating around out there about how when this crisis is over that we're going to be gaslit. And what I mean is we're going to be told that we want to go back to the way things were. We want to go back to spending. We want to go back to, for lack of a better term, the rat race. And we don't. Take this time to figure out what is and isn't important in your business and in your life. And, for me, what some of the things I'm liking, the air's clean. I've got no airplanes going overhead, so it's really quiet. Things I've noticed is I can hear bees, I can hear birds. It's take the little things in, understand the little things in life are important, and see where that fits in with the big picture. What can you do to make your life better going forward, and not fall back into the same traps, not fall back into, I have to go purchase this or that, I have to do this. Use the time to evaluate and to determine what's right for you and what's not, because we are going to be told, get back out there and consume. So.
Yeah, and we're going to need to be cautious about that because that is part of the survival trap that will get us back into the situation we were in. One of the things that I think is the greatest gift in all of this is that our entire world is realigning around work supporting life and not the other way around. We are getting hard lessons in the need to evaluate how we work to make sure that it is sustainable for life. We are learning how to balance work with family. We are learning how to incorporate family into our days as we work. And, I love what you're sharing, Dave, about things are slow. You can hear the bees. You're noticing things. We're all noticing things in our world that we haven't paid attention to previously. And that is an opportunity. We can be very thoughtful as we come out of this about how we incorporate that in our lives going forward. And having worked with a number of business owners in Wyoming who have been through boom and bust cycles, one of the things that I've really appreciated is learning from those business owners that thrived during a bust cycle and after a bust cycle. And so some things to think about for those of you listening is that if you are in a position to hire, this is a great time to be finding A players. So I just want to remind you about how to hire the best. This is an opportunity. If you have the ability to do it, you can be looking for A players. There are people who are really desperate for work right now and who would be happy to join your team and do an amazing job. And they might be people you would not have normally had access to. This is also an opportunity when other businesses are not doing well and they're needing to get rid of equipment and you are in a position to buy it. You can probably get some things on sale that you would not normally get. But again, be thoughtful in this and don't just start consuming. So creating a list of, here's what I would anticipate I'm going to need in my business in the next year to two. So if I find it on sale, I'm going to buy it. And even thinking through, here's the price that I will pay for it. And I won't go above this because it's very easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment in that type of situation. So those are some of the opportunities that I see. Mm-hmm. As we're wrapping up here today, Christine, I know you have a resource that you want to share, and you're going to be sharing that link in the comments in Facebook afterwards. But do you want to talk about it a little bit?
The other thing I wanted to share too, and the opportunity is, and this ties into the how to hire the best, is it is extremely difficult once you have a bad culture in your business to right size that culture. And it can take years. And Dr. Sabrina, you know this. It can really change the profitability of the business. So right now is a really great time if you're, right sizing the business, to assess the people. Do you have the right people in the right seats? And do they really fit your culture? So you could get ahead of that culture reset now in this situation. And instead of it taking years, it could, take a substantially less amount of time, in with what's going on right now. So that is another huge opportunity, is you could really reset the culture of your company. And that would be a great, I think, opportunity for any business. If you're looking at your culture, reflecting on it, going, man, I've really been struggling with this. It's been affecting my profitability over the last few years, or 10 years, whatever it may be. And I want some new people in some seats. Now's the time for that.
Yeah, it's we've actually seen this among some of our clients at Tap the Potential, who are talking about it's like a fire coming through, and it's creative destruction. We can clean house, and there's less guilt around it, and it's faster, and we're actually going to be able to recover better, because we're going to be very intentional about our culture going forward and hiring people for a good fit with our immutable laws. And so those are the core values of the business, and identifying those. And when Christina is talking about right sizing, I think that is something that we all have an opportunity for, is, scaling down and getting the business to the right size, so that what we are offering has margin, and healthy margin, so that we can build in appropriate profit and owner's pay and appropriate compensation for the A players on our team. That's what it really means to right size. So trimming the fat off the business and putting our resources where they have the greatest impact. So Christine, do you want to talk about the resource that you guys have created?
Yes, so we have the business crisis trend that we're going to share. And what we did with it was we outlined, it has 5 different stages that is in the business crisis trend. And it's what's going on right now with all of this that's happening and the impact that it's had on the economy. So there's the different stages that we've outlined. And in these stages, it breaks it down in detail. So you'll have a visual of this trend. And then in addition to the trend, there are the 5 stages. And it has in each stage what the stage means. So we've broken down the definition of each stage, what happens in each stage, and what you really want to focus to get to the next stage. So this is where we talk about the deliberate action, the strategic plan you want to focus on, and without, getting distracted of the inactions. You don't want to get caught up in those, the small wrong actions, and, leading to a business collapse. So it outlines how to stay away from those bad areas and really stay focused on the stages and stay, in your lane and stay in those good areas. So it breaks those down in detail. So we are going to share this, a link to this, so you guys can download the copy of this and dig into the details.
Yeah. Thank you, Christine. So you're going to post that in the comments on this Facebook Live after we end, so everybody who's listening can come back and get it. The other resource that I want to share with you all is our entrepreneurial burnout assessment at Tap the Potential. So this is a tool that I've created that assesses your level of entrepreneurial burnout and the risk that you are in for entrepreneurial burnout, in conjunction with the gaps that exist in your business. And so coming into coronavirus, we saw a lot of business owners having heightened symptoms of entrepreneurial burnout because they had more gaps in the business. So that means the business owner is plugging all those gaps. Those business owners are the ones who are at highest risk right now for tunnel vision and fear-based decisions and panic, and doing things that are not strategic that will help the business to thrive in the long term. So I would invite every one of you, if you have not taken this assessment in the last month or so, to go in and take it now. Assess your level of entrepreneurial burnout so you can start looking at, okay, wow, I have 7 or 8 symptoms. I need to really up my self-care. That's really what that means. And it also means, let's look at what those gaps are that are in the business that are also assessed in the assessment. and start putting plans in place to address those gaps so that we entrepreneurs can thrive in our businesses. I mean, it's really about taking our lives back from the business and not letting the business run our lives through coronavirus and after. So I'm going to post a link here. As we go out today, Christine and Dave with Core Growth Strategies, I really appreciate you guys being here with us in the discussion that we've had. Steve, Andrew, Stacy, all of you who've been participating in the chat, asking the good questions and providing the comments, thank you for doing that. I want to remind you all, we are doing this every Monday, 11:30 Central, here from the Tap the Potential page. And every week, the topic is the same, self-care and strategy for entrepreneurs through the coronavirus event. I am bringing in guests from my world who have wonderful tools and resources to support entrepreneurs so that we can all come out of this healthy and thriving. As we go out, I want to remind you all of our rally cry, which is to lead with love, shine bright, and be a gift from your gifts. Thank you, Christine and Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.